Rashi, Torah portion, Re'eh, we continue with the fourth reading. We are in chapter 14, verse number 1, continuing with the book of Dvarim, Deuteronomy. Moshe speaking to the Jewish people for his passing before they enter into the land. You are children to Hashem your God. He's going to do that you should not cut yourself. You shouldn't make any boldness between your eyes for the dead. Okay, what's going on over here? What do you mean you not cut yourself? Loisi is going to do. What's it mean? Gedida, not to make cutting a seret or a scratch b'psarchem on your flesh, al mace, over a dead person. Yeah. Kadesh this is what the Amorites would do. Because you are children of God, you're fit to be appropriate, fit to be handsome. And not cut or bold. To create bold spots, which is the next part of the verse. Rashi, between your eyes, dachas, next to your forehead. Elsewhere it says that you should not make a bald spot on your head. Not between, it doesn't say between your eyes. Last is coloration, makes the entire head like the space between your eyes. Second. So for the dead, they were used to do these kind of tributes. And you should do such a thing. You're children of Hashem. Continuing with that idea. Ki am kodeshata, because you are a holy people. L'Hashem alakechem, to Hashem your God. And in you he chose, Hashem, that you should be a treasured people, mikol amim, from all of the nations, that are on the face of the earth. Ki am kodeshata, you are holy. Kedushas atzmacha me'abesecha v'oid b'cha b'achar Hashem. Your holiness stems from your forefathers. And furthermore, Hashem has chosen you. Yeah, so the first thing he's saying, interesting, is that you're holy, and that's coming because you're coming from your forefathers. And at the same time, he's chosen you. In other words, beyond the fact that you come from somewhere, he's chosen you. Right? So now this is a prelude. Well, it's a continuation of what we just said about, to commemorate dead people in a way that the Amorites did. But now it's also a intro into the next. In other words, holiness is expressed in the fact of what you eat. And this is what the next verse is. Lo yiseichal kol te'eva. You should not eat any abomination. Verse number 3. So, we're going to go through the laws of kosher. And it's going to be the second time because we already had in Parsha Shmini in the book of Leviticus, Vayikra. But we're going to have it once again here. Kol te'eva, an abomination, Rashi in 3, kol she'ta'avti l'cha, thou that I have made an abominable for you. Keep going, for example, Tzeremois Bechor. One second. If you slit the ear of a firstborn animal, in order that you be allowed to slaughter it in the country, meaning outside of the base of Mikdash, and to eat it. Right, a sacrifice that has a blemish, but this is the firstborn animal, right? That which is abominable for you through the prohibition, that there should not be any blemish on an animal that is as an offering. So the Torah comes to teach over here that one may not slaughter and eat the firstborn animal because of that blemish. Hmm. Okay. So bishel basa b'cholav. So if one cooked milk and meat, hare davashetaftilach. This is also something I have made abominable for you. He's here Khan. So Torah comes to tell us over here, gives it a negative commandment, alach yilase, with regard to eating it. Right. So cooking is one thing, eating is another thing. So the Torah is coming to add, because of the redundancy of eating it too. Not exactly clear on that. Okay, let's see where this is going. That's at the end. Okay. At the end, the last verse that's going to speak about kosher is about not to cook the tender young animal in its mother's milk. It's the second time we had it already in the book of Exodus in Shmos. We already had it there. Why is it repeating over here? Tell us that you shouldn't not only not eat it and not cook it, but you shouldn't eat it either. And a third time will be in the Torah to tell us that you shouldn't have any pleasure from it, any benefit from it. But I'm not clear why Rashi's saying this here now. When it's coming up later, because I guess because the verse says any abomination, including all abominations. Okay, well, you know what? Let's go further. Okay. First time first. These are the animals that you can eat. Sure, an ox, seh, a lamb, kvasim, a kid, seh, easing. Sick. Okay. These are the things you can eat. Isle, a gazelle. Tzvi, a deer. Yachmor, an antelope. Akoy, an ibex. Vidishain, uh, chamois, I don't know. Uzai, bison. Vizomer, and a giraffe. Rashi in 5. So we didn't have this previously when we spoke about the kosher. What do we have? That which uses cud and has split hooves. That's what we're told. Here it's actually pointing out, previously pointed out, if, for example, a pig that has split hooves but doesn't chew its cud, or a hare that um, doesn't have split hooves but chews its cud. Right? Those are examples of having one of them. Okay, let's see Rashi. And these are the animals. This comes to teach us of that beasts are included in animal, because the first verse is speaking about ox, lamb, and kid are domesticated animals. And then the next one is non-domesticated. Usually the term chaya is used for non-domesticated, not behema. Behema is for domesticated. But here we're only using the word chaya. So Rashi is pointing out that the term behema is more of a general term, right? That is not doesn't mean specifically and only domesticated animals, but also non-domesticated. That the beast is included in the term behema. We've also learned that impure non-kosher animals and beasts are outnumbering the pure and the ones that are kosher. Malcolm in all places prat is a muat, because you always give that which is fewer. So there's fewer to mention of the kosher animals than the non-kosher. Akoy, miturgam yala. The Onkelos translates it as Yael, Yale Sala, an ibex of the rock. In Old French, Istanbul. I don't know how that Old French was, but that's what. Usai, an ibex, or a Tio, Cerbola, the Torah Yair, an ox of the forest. Olayar. Aramaic term. Okay. Now we go into the actual signs of what's kosher, not kosher. Verse number 6. B'chola behema, and any animal, mafresis parsa, that has split hooves, shesa, shtei parses, it has a split hoof, and it has a hoof that's cloven into 2 sections. Umalis gera, and chews its cud, but behema, amongst the animals, oisa techelu, that you may eat. Rashi, presses duka kitargumai, means split. Parsa, in Old French, plomb. Plomb. The shoisas, separated. Chaluka b'shtei tziparnaim. It's divided into 2 hooves. Sheish tzeduka, because there is an animal whose hooves are split at the tip, ve'ena chaluka b'tziparnaim, but not divided completely to separate the hooves. So hitmeya, that's an impure animal, meaning it's not kosher.
What did you say there? The hooves were split in 2?
A partial split. Like a camel is got a partial split. It's not split through and through. A donkey doesn't have a split at all, right? A sheep is split through and through. In other words, it can be split just the top part, right off through and through. So what it's saying over here, that it's separated, meaning the hooves are separated, not just they're split. That's what it means. Is that clear? Babehema, among the animals, in the animals, mashma, this implies mashanim sebehema, that which is found inside the animal, echol you may eat. Kan amr, from here we understand shashalil nita, that the fetus becomes permitted to be eaten b'shchitas imai, through the slaughtering of its mother. So the beginning of the verse said all animals, and now it says amongst the animals is superfluous. So it means in the animal, to permit the meat of the fetus through the slaughter of the mother. If you slaughter the mother that's pregnant, the animal that survives, right? That animal that survives doesn't need to be slaughtered, right? That's what this verse is coming to say. Because it says in the beginning of the verse, all animals, and it says in the animal. But well, in the animals of the animal, and it's all animals, right, that have these signs. So means to say, not among the animals, but because literally means bibahema, in the animal. So if there's something in the animal, a fetus, it's permitted through the slaughter of the mother. I hope that was clear. Okay, next verse, verse 7. However, is this do not eat. Mimale hagera, that which chews its cud, mafisa parsa, right? That chews its cud, or it has split hooves, right? Not that and, but or. As a gamal is a camel. Vesar nevis, a hyrax. It's a shafan, a hare. Kimaila gera hima, because they chew their cud. But they don't have split hooves. They are impure for you, unclean for you, meaning they're not kosher, right? So again, this is a repetition from Parshas Shmini in the book of Vayikra Leviticus. Verse 7, Shasua, Bria he. It is a creature, Sheyesh Lashnei Gabim, that has two backs, Ushte Shidres, and two backbones. Amar Rabbi Seinu, Lama Nishnu. Our sages say, why are these laws repeated? As I mentioned, they were already in Parsha Shmini and Leviticus, right? Bibahema, regarding the animals that were repeated, mipnei suwa, because of the shasua. So it's adding something here, shasua. Okay, but being completely split. But Aphis, and regarding the birds, it's repeated Mipnei hara'ah because of the ra'ah, Shalinemra b'Teres Kahanim, because that was not said in Leviticus. Okay, I don't get Rashi what he's saying because you know that only explains why we added something here. Why wasn't that added originally in Leviticus? So there's one bird that's not kosher that was not in Leviticus, and it's here, as we'll see shortly. And you could have put it over there, and then you wouldn't have to repeat about what's kosher birds. Okay, I don't, not clear. There's a chazir and the pig keep mafris parsa. Oh, because it has split hooves, like to it doesn't chew its cud. Tamea lachem, it is impure for you. From his flesh you should not eat. Go and don't touch their carcasses. Rashi. Don't touch your carcasses. Our sages explain from this. And speaking of a festival, my person is obligated to purify himself to go to Jerusalem for the holidays, for the festivals, right? Aliyah regel. Right? You might think, yeah, Musharim, that they would be forewarned to be pure b'chol Lashana the entire year, because it doesn't make specification about the festivals that's when you have to be pure to come to teach you. Otherwise, someone would leimar emela koyim. But no, Parshas Emer says, say to the Kohanim, Uma tumas meis, with regard to impurity of the dead, chamor, which is the severe form of impurity, Kohanim, Musarim Kohanim are enjoined to guard against it. Vein Israel, Musarim and the Israelites are not enjoined to, not to go into a cemetery, for example. Tumas nevela, with regard to impurity of a carcass, which is kala, which is not as severe a law. It's a lighter one because it's an animal, not a human that, corpse. The kol shekin wouldn't be all the more so the non-kohanim that the non-kohanim don't need to be told to avoid that. Oh, you wouldn't be told unless you were told, and therefore here you're being told. Okay, but less stringent, right? One second. So only going up to the festival, so you shouldn't touch because you shouldn't become impure during the whole year. It's okay. Yeah. Okay, number 9. Ezeh teichlu, this is what you shall eat. Mikol asher b'mayim, all those that are in water. Kol asher sinapiv kalkeses teichlu. Anything that has a sinapir is fins, kaskeses is scales. You're able to eat. B'chol asher ein lo sinapir kaskeses. Anything that doesn't have fins and scales, lo seichelu, do not eat. Tell me it is impure for you. Called sipor tahor teichelu. Any clean animal, clean bird rather, pure bird you may eat. This permits the king to give you permission, a bird that is set free in purification right of the mitzvah. Because the mitzvah is pure, so I guess this is pure. And these are from that you should not eat. The nesher is an eagle. Heres is an ossifrage, an osprey. This is a shchuta. What do you mean they can't eat it? It means if you've slaughtered it, right? Okay. Hara, the white vulture is Aya, Vadaya Lamina. White vulture, the black vulture, and the kite. Rashi in 13. Hara, this Aya, and the Daya. Hira, the Aya, Hudaya. So Rashi says it's all the same. Ra, Aya, and Daya are all the same bird. Why is it called a Ra? Because it's seed. Ra means it comes from to seed, like Re'eh, Parshas Re'eh. It sees very well. So why is the Torah coming to prohibit it in all of these names? Right? That you shouldn't allow a pretext. The Baldin like to dispute and to argue, so that the one who prohibits it, who teaches it, prohibits, should not call it a raw. And someone wants to permit it, is going to call it Daya Shema, that its name is a Daya. All right. One second. Let me use it. So all of these that you shouldn't, right? Someone who's a dispute and argue, so that the one who prohibits, who teaches it's prohibited, should not call it a raw. And someone wants to come and permit it, it's going to the Zudayishma, it's going to give a different name to it, a Daya or Ayash, or the name Aya. Zuhi also and that's why the Torah comes to forbid it. Which birds, unlike other animals, Hatmeim, the Torah tells us that which is impure ones. Lame to come and teach us that the pure animals, or birds rather, but Rubim Hatmeim outnumber the impure ones. Therefore, the make individual mention of that which is fewer. What's fewer? The impure, non-kosher birds. The ez kol erev lemina, in all ravens with species. The ez basa yanya v'tachmas v'zashacha v'zaneitz leminehu, and the ostrich, the owl, the gull, and the hawk after its species. There's a kais, a falcon. There's a yanshuv, the ibis, a tishamis, and a bat. Tishamis, an old French bat. Calzones. Yeah. Kaz v'sarachama v'sashala. Pelican, the magpie, and the cormorant. Shalach hashele dogim min hayam. So it means the gull is a bird that draws out fish from the sea. Ba'chasida, the stork. Ba'anafa, and the heron. The mina, according to its species. Ba'duchefis, duchefas, and the hupo, the yatalef, and the yatalef. Duchefis, tarnagol haba, las. Huh. So it is a rooster, which is an old French harupi, a double crest it has. 19. And any flying insect is unclean for you. You may not eat it. Sheretz ha'if. So it says a sheretz, which is a creepy crawler. Hema nemuchim, those are that are low and crawling. Hashim ala aretz, and they swarm on the ground. Zvuvi mitzirim, and then you have flies and hornets. Chagavim, and certain species of locusts. Kruim sheretz, they're called a sheretz. On the other hand, called oif tar toichlu, any clean fowl you may eat. Rashi, called oif tar toichlu in 20. You may eat any pure fowl. Veloyes atame, not impure. Bali say this is giving a positive commandment. Loisa say over the negative commandment. Behema, similar with animals, other than birds. It says, you may eat it. But not impure animals. Valav has a negative commandment. It comes from the positive commandment. Essay has the force of a positive commandment. Lavar aleihem, to transgress eating impure animals. So it's both a positive and a negative commandment if you would eat something that's kosher, non-kosher. You should not eat any carcass of an animal. In other words, wasn't slaughtered, right? Or it wasn't slaughtered properly. Give it to the stranger in your cities. Give it, and eat it. Or you could sell it to a non-Jew. Because you're a holy people. Hashem Elokeichem, to Hashem your God. Do not cook the kid in its mother's milk. Right, let's see Rashi in the final. Right, do not cook a young kid in its mother's. And also, the next verse speaks about tithing. Oh, sorry. The Gerash, I made a mistake. I'm looking at the wrong place. The stranger who's in your cities, Ger Teshav, this became a resident alien, means someone who accepted a non-Jew who accepted not 7 Noachide laws. They don't need to keep kosher, right? That's who you should give it to or sell it to them. Shekibullah, because that person accepted upon themselves, Shalom, not to worship idols. So, so this resonates. Shekiva lalav, he took upon himself not to worship idols, but he eats non-slaughtered animals. Kim Kaddish Hashem, because you, the Jewish people, are holy to God. Kaddish is Atzmacha, you have to sanctify yourself, that which is permitted to you. Devarim mutar, meaning things that are permitted, which others treat as prohibition. Do not permit them, minehim, in their presence. Hmm. Okay, let's vashigadi. Do not cook. Shalish Bami, it says 3 times in Torah the same phrase, Prat L'chaya, to the exclusion of a wild beast, or L'ayfes and fowl, or the Behemoth Tmeya, and to impure animals. Interesting. Gives a different take on it now. Okay. Amazing. Thank you, folks.